Hello to all of our attendees. I would like to warmly welcome you to Boston University's Professional Fundraising webinar. We would like to thank you for taking the time to spend with us today to learn more about our certificate program and to take the next step towards your professional advancement. My name is Sarah, and I will be moderating today's session alongside our presenters. We have a live Q&A session at the close of the webinar, so please ask your questions in the questions box located on the right-hand side of your screen. Just as a reminder, we will also be sending a link to the recorded version of this webinar in a few days for your reference and to share with your colleagues. Here is our agenda for today's presentation, and so we will be covering first the professional fundraising program as an overview, second, the curriculum and the instructors, and third, the registration, and then following up with our live questions and answer session. I would now like to introduce John Shaffer, the Program Director of the Professional Fundraising Program. John has been a lead instructor at Boston University and even completed the program himself in 2007. John is currently a Senior Development Officer at Harvard Business School and is a regular speaker and volunteer at the annual CASE, which is Council for Advancement and Support of Education, conference. John's regular involvement with fundraising in the community makes him an accomplished leader for this program. And John, I will now pass it over to you to dive into our program.
Great, thank you, Sarah, for that kind and generous introduction. I welcome everyone who's here and everyone who will be listening later. First, I wanted to just say a big thank you for being interested in mission-based organizations and helping them raise the resources that they need to be able to accomplish those missions. It's very important work that you're doing either as volunteers or professionals or those who are looking to get into the industry. We'll go into that a little bit more and want you all to know how much I appreciate that as a professional fundraiser myself. We'll spend the next little bit going over the program, and then, as Sarah mentioned, have time at the end for questions. So the program is a 12-week program. It's online and asynchronous, which means that you're able to do it at any time of day from any location. And as a road warrior professional fundraiser myself, I take advantage of that often as I'm around the country. Is based in practice, and we'll go into that a little bit more. It counts towards education points for your CFRE if you're here looking to pursue that designation. And we have a great group of professional fundraisers who will walk you through this journey of the content. We talk throughout the course about perspectives from both small and large fundraising shops across different sectors, and that's reflected both in the course content as well as the instructors who are leading it. And at the end of it, you will have a certificate in professional fundraising from the Metropolitan College. Next slide, please. So as I briefly mentioned, there are typically 4 key groups that take this course. We tend to have a decently sized cohort, around 50 students, and then we have an alumni group of the course, and it represents all of these areas. We see many sort of career changers, folks seeking to get into the industry, and for those folks, you know, this really is a great introduction to the fundraising field, the learnings and the language of how to target what you might want to do in the field and how you might pursue that. We'll go into that a little bit more as well. Professional fundraisers who are already in the field but looking to move up. So often from support positions to frontline positions, or from support positions to more senior or autonomous positions. Understanding the whole fundraising shop can be a critical element in allowing you to advance within your organization. Finally, or the third group is those who are moving into management roles, often from individual contributors, and may not have the comprehensive understanding of what their team will be doing across all fundraising functions, And so giving them the overview and providing you with the baseline information to ask the right questions when you're working with your team. And finally, and this has been a growing piece, which is very heartening to see, volunteers and board members, particularly from maybe smaller organizations that don't have large fundraising presences, but want to learn some best practices to be able to help the organization that they care about. And often these are local organizations as well. So it's a robust group of people that this course can be helpful for. And if you see yourself fitting into one of these buckets, then I would definitely suggest you join us. Next slide, please. So I wanted to take just a moment to sort of talk about the professional fundraising field generally. So over the past probably 10 years, it's been an increasingly professionalized field, which means that there are more and more opportunities for qualified and educated fundraisers to be getting meaningful jobs. They're meaningful not just because they have great missions, or many of them have great missions for the organizations you're working for, but they also have come up to sort of similar levels in some areas to the for-profit sector in terms of benefits and salary and opportunities for advancement and all of that. It's a very rewarding field to be in. When you think of fundraising, there's many different areas. You can see them sort of listed here. I think oftentimes people tend to have one narrow focus, and throughout the course, you'll get to know some of those different areas, and there'll be plenty of opportunity to talk through what the benefits of some over others are. And then one of the really neat things that I think folks get out of this course, and really is reflected out there in the marketplace, is that there's actually a lot of different positions within fundraising. Most people think of that, fundraiser who takes you out to lunch, sort of the frontline major gift officer, which is part of, one of the roles, but there's a whole host of areas that you can have meaningful employment in this industry. And, I think this is a great way to get in there. Sort of what we, some of the benefits of taking this class on that front are that you really learn the language, which I think I had mentioned, and you figure out, the overview and the building blocks of fundraising so that you can sort of speak smartly and accurately about the areas where you are looking for professional advancement. You build a knowledge, you build a practice. We're very, our assignments are very focused on real world activities that you would be doing in these jobs. So you will have some familiarity, and some folks even build a portfolio of their work out of this course. We also spend some time talking about current trends and thinking about that in the context of a class of 50 different points of view. And so having that opportunity has been helpful. And of course, there's a network. So you're building a network of people across the country, across the globe, across sectors that you can call upon to help you as you're trying to move forward. I think one of the other sort of fun facts is a strong word, but one of the other interesting areas is that we also help you think through who your network is. So what's neat about this sector is that if you're looking to get in as a professional fundraiser, it's not just the people that you know who are professional fundraisers, but many individuals who have day jobs in other sectors are involved in this area. So your network, if you are sort of thoughtful about it, can be much broader, and there's many more opportunities to have connections and conversations to lead towards a job search, which I think is has been proven successful to many of our students. Next slide, please. So the next couple slides really break down what the course content is. As I mentioned, this is an overview course, so you're getting to know all the different parts of the fundraising organization. The work within these modules, I'll take a moment here just to mention that, is made up of really 5 different elements. So for each module, you have course content that you access online that's specifically about the topic area. You engage in discussion boards that are contributed to by your classmates and facilitated by the instructors, asking meaningful questions to sort of push you further in your understanding of different topics. You also have a moment to reflect. So within each module, you are given a couple questions to reflect on how you would actually do prospect research, or how you would think about directing resources for annual giving. And then the final sort of written part is that there's an assignment within each module that's based on practice, and asking you to, put together a research profile, or a campaign case statement or something of that nature. The final sort of added benefit of the course, which is great for folks who are able to access it live, but also we record them because we know our students are sort of all over the globe. But we do offer 3 to 5 live sessions throughout the course. So these are optional, but really a great benefit and opportunity to hear directly from instructors who are close to practice and can go over one of their expertise areas, and provide the opportunity for engagement and back and forth in a live way. And looking at this slide, so we start in fundraising overview, where we sort of look at the background history, how to approach fundraising generally, then go into sort of a little bit behind the scenes on prospect research, how we find the individuals, companies, and foundations that organizations pursue for philanthropic support, what the elements are, and then how you put them all together to determine who's worth pursuing for gifts for your organization. We then go a little bit more broad, but beginning to go to the front line around annual giving, which is primarily around direct mail and how you engage on these sort of smaller, more regular, consistent, and unrestricted gifts. And we talk some about how that's done on the front line as well. And then follow that into a neat area that continues to grow in the fundraising world around how technology is enabling fundraising, both in communications, but really we dig deep into how you can apply that to many of the functions that you wouldn't necessarily traditionally think of. Next slide, please. And we'll spend some time going fully frontline on major gifts, thinking through how you cultivate and ask or solicit individuals for gifts to your organization, at what levels and what that goes into that. Building on that, we talk about plan giving, which is an area that if you're not familiar with, can be quite technical, but allows people to give at much larger, in much larger ways, because there's different tax advantages to them. So you'll go deep enough in there to have an understanding and speak the language. As we continue on with prospects, we'll talk about corporations and foundations and how to approach them. And then we'll go through, most of you probably know an organization going through a capital campaign, an opportunity to raise increased funds for your organization. We'll sort of go through the whole process of how that is done and why it's done. And it's a nice way of actually bringing together many of the things that you're learning in the first few modules. Next slide. We will then go completely behind the scenes, which is and this is often an area where students find opportunities for jobs that they might not have thought otherwise, in terms of the different functions that support the frontline fundraising and are critical to the fundraising shop, but again, probably not ones that might come readily to mind. We'll finish out the course talking about volunteers. They are the lifeblood of many, if not all, organizations, and how you best use them is a real challenge on organizations, as they have limited resources, and making sure you're most effectively harnessing those resources can be a challenge. Having some models to think about that is important. And finally, we'll close around sort of the management of the fundraising shop, as well as some of the sort of ethical or other questions that can come up when you're thinking about that. So that's sort of the comprehensive nature of the course. I'm happy to go into any of those other areas in the Q&A if there's things that you wanted to touch on. Next slide. So as I mentioned, we have a robust group of instructors. You can see their backgrounds here. Most of us have been teaching together in this program for a long period of time, and some teach elsewhere as well. But what's really neat is that everyone is also deeply involved in fundraising. Kelly's at a foundation, and Frank has a long career in development communications and is now doing a lot around technology. Teresa has done everything, is doing some stuff on data analytics now, but has run annual funds, and, capital campaigns, and managed teams. And Kylie has some great background, specifically in plan giving, but she's built that out into a broader understanding of fundraising as well. So in addition to the instructors, you will have a couple facilitators who help us and you sort of get through the course, answer questions, do grading, so to keep the trains running. And I think turn it back over to Sarah at this point.
All right, so I will now turn it over to Carrie, our fundraising enrollment advisor.
Thank you, Sarah. I wanted to go over the course logistics with everyone today. This is an instructor-led online course. So on the previous slide, we saw the instructors who will be teaching this course. The program is asynchronous, so there's no set time of day or day of week which students are required to log on to do their work. However, the instructors are online every day, so you are able to communicate with the faculty via email. As far as browsers, we do recommend Firefox and Google Chrome for the course. And the online platform that we use is Blackboard. The program is offered 3 times a year. We offer the course every January, every May, and every September. If you are looking for the next available session, it starts this September 4th, which is right after Labor Day. The enrollment deadline is quickly approaching. It is Friday, August the 10th. The tuition for the course is $2,495. And if you are looking to enroll, whether it's for this September or for a future session, you can do so directly on our website, which we have listed here for you. Or if you prefer, you can always call us and we're happy to help you enroll over the telephone as well. This is a straightforward registration process, so no application is required to fill out. So after our September session, if you're unable to join us this fall, we will have a course coming up quickly in January. Tuition is the same, the website's the same, and as soon as the dates have been confirmed, we will update the website with our January dates. So that everyone is aware, we do offer a tuition reduction of 10% if you are a member of the following groups. So if you are a member of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, also known as AFP, there's a 10% discount. And there's also discounts for if you were or are currently a member of the Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, Teach for America, or City Year. We have listed on this webinar the promo codes that you would use to receive your 10% tuition discount, and those you would use directly in our shopping carts. No worries, they are also listed on our website and in our shopping cart so that you can't miss them. Next slide, please. And we are here happy to answer any questions, as we will do so in a minute during our Q&A. But after the webinar is over, if you or your colleagues or your friends, if anyone has questions, our enrollment team is here. They've been working with the program for many years and really know it forwards and backwards. You can email us at bostonuniversity@mymac.net. You can call us. We have the telephone listed there at 617-502-8822. Or if you go on the website, feel free, you can review the various categories online, as well as we do have live chat available. So if you would like to reach out to us, you can do so via email, via phone, or chat. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Sarah, who I think is going to start the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, so at this time, we will be accepting questions from the audience about the topics covered today that was presented by either John or Carrie. Again, so please feel free to type your answers in the questions box, and we will read them aloud and provide your answers. I'll just wait a moment for some questions to come in. All right, so John, I'm going to pass the first question to you. Our question coming in is, are there career resources available for me throughout this program until completion?
There are, through your instructors, they will post links throughout the course on things that might be helpful to you. We don't have sort of a specific career office out of this program, but we are happy to work with you on your searches.
Great, thank you, John. And the second question for you is, how many international students do you usually have for this program? Actually, I think
that's a great question. I would say, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to say anecdotally, so I'll let you take it.
All right. Actually, I think Carrie might be able to answer this question for our audience here. She deals with the students.
Thank you, Sarah. Because the course is asynchronous, this allows people across the U.S. as well as international students to participate. So we can't guarantee each session will have an international student, but usually I would say there's 1 to 2 international students in each session.
Great. Thank you, Carrie. Our next question is, do you know how many of those enrolled in your program have actually passed the CFRE? And John, I will pass that to you.
So we have not historically tracked data on that, so I don't know specifically. One of the things to keep in mind is that this course helps fulfill the CFRE education requirement. There's also a work requirement. So for many folks, they're taking this course and they're finishing up their work requirement and then sitting for the course. The course in its content was based off of the CFRE exam and mirrors what's expected. So my understanding from the individuals that I've stayed in touch with is that it has not been a problem to pass the exam after this course.
All right, great answer. Thank you, John. The next question is, what are we graded on in this course specifically? And John, I'll pass that to you, please.
Sure. So there are really 3 elements. There's a reflection each module that's pass fail. There's a graded assignment that's a couple-page assignment based on a prompt that you're given, and then your classroom participation. So how you regularly participate on discussion boards with both quality posts that are relevant to the discussion that's going on, as well as being sure that you're posting at least once to each board, and there's typically 2 boards per module.
Thank you. Our next question is asking about the challenges and difficulties some of our past students might have had in this program. And I'll pass that to you, John.
Sounds good. So the biggest challenge is life, really more than anything else. You know, things can come personally or professionally while folks are in this course that can get in the way of being able to put the time in doing the assignments. We do our best to work with students to be sure that they can successfully complete the course, but it's full of rich content that folks can go through at their own pace. We don't see too much challenge on folks when they have the time to be able to complete the work and to successfully complete the program.
Thank you, John. And I'm going to add one thing to John's answer is many students call and ask how much time do they need to devote each week to the course. And we estimate that at approximately 7 to 10 hours per week, you would be successful in doing the course assignments as well as reading assignments as well as your homework assignments.
Thank you, Carrie. Our next question comes in with, is this beneficial to employees who work outside of the development office for nonprofits? And John, I'll pass that to you, please.
Yes. So I'm assuming that you're thinking of someone who probably works a program that the organization delivers, but they're not in fundraising, or maybe they work on the administrative side, maybe in the financial office or something of that nature. We've had a lot of program managers, so someone who, think of the person who delivers the after-school program at a teen center in an inner city, who've taken this course, have found it really helpful because they often find themselves in a position where they're either being expected to do some fundraising or to participate in fundraising by engaging donors and others in the work that they do. So we have had a fair number of that over the years.
Great, thank you, John. Next question is, with the online platform, how well do we get to know the other students and peers as well as our instructors throughout the length of this course?
I can take that because it makes me smile. You guys are really good at that. I will say, honestly, when I started on this platform years ago, that was my sort of biggest concern. I tend to be someone who appreciates sort of the live activity. But without a doubt, from the first, right at the beginning, we start with robust introductions of each other, and from those first connections, people are getting to know each other. They're connecting online and offline, depending on where they're living and what they're doing. There's a wider range of interests, so that tends to be something. And I probably know the names of 10 dogs by the time we're through it as well. So there really is a great opportunity, especially because we put an emphasis on the participation in the discussion boards to get to know your classmates. And then in terms of getting to know your instructors, it's really at your sort of challenge by choice. So the instructors are here for the time that they're teaching their modules to interact and engage with you. We have an internal messaging system where you can send questions or thoughts or just ask for feedback, and so students take us up on that all the time.
That's great, John. Thanks so much. Our next question is going off of the international question we had from before, asking, is this an appropriate course for someone working outside of the U.S.? Is content relevant to these folks as well? And John, I'll pass that to you.
Yeah, so what I would say is it's a best practice course. It is, we don't get into the logistics of, different giving vehicles and sort of the details of some of the international tax law and that piece of it. But within each area, we're talking about practices that should and can be applied to all development shops. And there's some areas where, bringing in that international perspective makes you think slightly differently about how you would apply it, but it's still the practices that you would be using no matter what country.
Thank you, John. The next question is about paying for the course. What options do I have to pay for this course? And Carrie, I'll pass it to you, please.
Thank you. So you do have a few options when enrolling in the course. If you are looking to enroll in the upcoming September session, a payment in full would be required on or before the enrollment deadline of August the 10th. If you are looking for payment plans would be available. We would need to refer you to the January session, which we will have on our website this August. We'll open enrollment for January. And for the January session, anyone who enrolls this month of August, there would be a 5-month payment plan available. You would simply take the tuition, the $2,495, divide by 5, and your monthly payments would be $499 per month. How our payment plans work would be a 5-month payment plan would be available for August, a 4-month payment plan in September, a 3-month payment plan in October, a 2-month payment plan in November, and last but certainly not least, in December, a payment in full would be required. There is one other option for payment of the course. The course is eligible for a Sallie Mae student loan. This information can be found on our website. A Sallie Mae loan is a government loan. You would follow the link on our website, you would apply for it, and upon hearing that you have been approved, you would contact the enrollment team, let us know, and we would enroll you over the telephone. So you do have a couple options. Again, you can enroll online and make a payment with a credit card. You can enroll online with a payment plan, or you can apply and do a Sallie Mae smart loan.
All right, thank you, Carrie. John, I believe this one would be more appropriate for you. Will there be any assignments that require group presentations or projects, or is this more of an independent study program?
There are no group projects or group assignments in this.
All right, thank you.
More independent, yep.
Okay. And John, again, for you, can you please explain what one could possibly be presented with on the CFRE exam, or examples of sort of questions that are asked?
So really it's the whole gamut of the fundraising profession. So it'll ask about how you do prospect research. It'll ask about details in terms of prospect move cycle, from identification to cultivation to solicitation to stewardship. There is a whole section around fundraising and how you decide what to make, what your organization's gift policy and that piece of it is. But it really is a broad range.
All right, good answer. Thank you, John. All right, at this time, there is no further questions coming in, so I'll just give a couple more seconds here. If anyone has any last questions they'd like to ask John or Carrie before we close out the webinar, please do so at this time. All right, there's one question here for you, John, asking about how this course will help me move forward in my career. Is this enough? Is this certificate program enough to, move up the chain, if you will? And what is your answer to that?
So I think it can be a big part of it. I'm not the individual performance and accomplishments within your organization are not important. To be honest, they're more important. But having a dedicated employee who's looking to build knowledge base and commit to education to gaps that they're not able to get professionally. Many of us, when we're in our day-to-day work, are sort of heads down around a specific area, which is how it should be. That is what our job is. But to demonstrate that commitment, that higher level thinking, and really to be able to participate in conversations in a different way and be looked at differently in your office, this course can be very helpful.
All right, thank you. And I think that will be the close of our questions and answers session today. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to join us to learn about Boston University's online professional fundraising program. We've had a lot of great questions in this session, and hopefully you've taken away some information that'll help you in making your decision in your career. All right, thank you, John, for your time. Thank you, Carrie. And again, a recording of this webinar will be sent to all attendees, so look for that in your inbox. And otherwise, everyone have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.